In this session, we will be discussing about the application of value chain management. So, uh, for successful implementation of value chain management, any organization should fulfill the following six requirements. The first is research and development. The second is product design. Third is production process. Then marketing, sales, distribution management, customer service. First, we will be discussing about the research and development. This is the first step in the value chain management. This step is to study the market, survey the customers, and assess what your customer actually want. On the rural business level, this could mean working directly with different actors involved in the value chain and provide alternatives or produce a new product that will suit the customer. And then product design. Once a new product has been identified or an existing product is upgraded to meet the anticipated demand, that item is tested, refined, and sent for production. And then comes the production process. One of the major factors governing the success or the failure of a product is the place where the product is being produced or manufactured. When we analyze from a value chain perspective, the place of production can affect quality of the product or service, the cost, and the value created by the product or service. Here, the globalization has played a very major role because many firms are now depending on global sourcing, and global manufacturing. Then comes the marketing and sales. Competitive advantage cannot be gained only by providing product value. Successful organization now need to offer service value as well as real differentiators, which can also be called wow factor. Now we'll take an example to explain this. There is a hotel chain in the US which allows its manager to permit every employee to spend up to $2,000 to make single guest satisfied. This was reported in the Forbes magazine. This gesture from the side of management was instrumental in employees creating wow experience for their customers. And then comes the most important part, distribution management. Distribution management includes all those actors and activities in the value chain which are necessary for carrying the finished good from the manufacturing point to finally the end customer through various intermediaries. Logistics, warehousing, materials, handling and packaging, transportation, stores, etc. are the critical linkages in a value chain. And in today's digital age, when e-commerce is becoming increasingly popular and cost efficient, distribution management becomes very critical factor in any value chain. Then comes the customer service. So after selling a product or a service, uh, the lack of knowledge about the product usage amongst the customers uh, leads to leads to failure of the product or service in the market. Similarly, lack of complaint handling, non-availability of spare parts, or lack of troubleshooting mechanisms, etc., can be a major bottleneck in the success of any value chain. To ensure that value, to ensure that value gets created through these support activities, the employees need training, who in turn can educate the customer. Once the product or service has been sold, the customer expects that the organization will take care of all the problems related to the product. This final link in the value chain is refined as needed and is used by the firm to collect feedback as well as measure customer behavior. Though implementing value chain management is encouraged, firms should ensure clarity on number of aspects before jumping into implementation. These aspects are defining value chain, capturing cost data, controlling costs, cutting buyer's cost, determining purchasing criteria, reconfiguring value chain. The first we'll be discussing now is defining value chain. As discussed earlier, the uh, The firm should first clearly identify the business unit's product that is to be considered for implementing value chain management. Identify the key functions and identify all relevant activities within each function. This is the first step. And the second is capturing cost data. The overall cost has to be divided amongst the function, and within each function the cost has to be assigned to various activities of the value chain. Then identify competitors and assess their pattern of allocating cost to their activities. Then identify your gaps and act accordingly. Uh, a firm should uh, a firm should compare its cost to its competitors to understand the competitor's strategy. And then comes the important aspect, that is called controlling cost. For each activity there is a cost, and each of these have a cost driver. Identify the cost driver for each activity and control them using appropriate strategy. And then comes the cutting buyer's cost aspect. To enable that the buyer also does not end up spending more, some guidelines should be followed. Those guidelines are: ensure lower setup time and cost. Um, for buyers looking for finance, decrease the financing cost. Rather than to spend money on spares and maintenance, improve the quality of production, which in turn will reduce inspection. Then better and improved quality will automatically reduce the maintenance. Then buyer does not want to wait, speed up the processing time. And then if possible, uh, reduce required monitoring and control. These are some basic guidelines which can be followed to cut the buyer's cost. Then determining purchasing criteria. It always helps to measure the customer behavior, understand his or her motivation behind the purchase. If organization can figure out the key factors which govern the buyer's decision making process, then they can provide favorable delivery time or improve product features, packaging and appearance, or improve after sale services also. Then the last aspect is reconfiguring value chain. There should be no fixation in terms of the value chain flow. The organizations can look at changing the way the activities are being done from the time to time. Then we'll be discussing a case study that is called Starbucks, a successful value chain model. So as you all know, uh, the Starbucks journey began with a single store in Seattle in the year 1971 to become one of the most recognized brand in the world. Starbucks' mission is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And now we'll be discussing about the primary activities of the company. First comes the inbound logistics. Company appointed coffee buyers who can select the finest quality coffee beans from Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Green or unroasted beans are purchased directly from the farms by the Starbucks buyer and transported to the storage site, and then it is roasted and packed. There is no outsourcing of its procurement, ensuring high quality standards right from the point of selection of the coffee beans. Then after selection of the coffee beans, they are sent to distribution centers. And then comes the operation. Starbucks operates in 65 countries with 21,000 stores, and still increasing. 79% of the total revenue during the fiscal year 2017 comes from its company operated stores, and 10.5 of of the company of the total revenue comes from licensed stores. And then we will be discussing about the outbound logistics. There is a very little or no presence of intermediaries in product selling. The majority of the products are sold in their own or licensed stores only. As a new venture, the company has launched a range of single origin coffees, which will be sold through some leading retailers only in the US. Then, what is the meaning of single origin coffees? Single origin coffees are the coffee which are grown within a single known geographic region. Then the marketing and sales. Starbucks invest more in superior quality products and high level of customer service than in aggressive marketing. However, need-based marketing activities are carried out by the company during new product launch in the form of sampling in areas around the store. Then the last is service. Starbucks aims at building customer loyalty through its stores' customer service. The retail objective of Starbucks is to be the leading retailer and brand of coffee in each of their target markets by selling the finest quality coffee and related products, and by providing each customer a unique Starbucks experience. Then we will be discussing the about the support activities of the Starbucks. First, we will be discussing about the infrastructure. Infrastructure includes departments like management, finance, legal, etc., which are required to keep the company's stores operational. Starbucks' well-designed and pleasing stores are complemented with good customer service provided by the dedicated team of employees in green aprons. And the Starbucks is very well known for its green aprons. Then the human resource management. The committed workforce is considered a key attribute in the company's success and growth over the years. Starbucks employees are motivated through the generous benefits and incentives. The company is known for taking care of its workforce, a key reason for a low turnover of employees, which indicates great human resource management of the company. There are many training programs conducted for the employees in a setting of a work culture which keeps its staff motivated and efficient. Then the last one we'll be discussing is technology development in Starbucks. Starbucks is well known for use of technology, not only for coffee related process, but also they also use the technology also to connect its customers. Many customers use Starbucks stores as makeshift office or meeting place because of the unlimited Wi-Fi. In 2008, the company launched a platform where the customers could ask questions, give suggestions, and openly express opinions and share experience. The company has implemented some of the suggestions, including for its rewards program for this forum. So now, I hope you all are clear about the value chain management and how to implement it. Thank you.